There are obviously a number of issues where Republicans and Democrats kind of stand in stark contrast on transgender rights, immigration, two things that have been in the news. So what's sort of the path forward on those, given that you guys are in such disagreement? Can you compromise in any way? What do you foresee?
I don't think you'll see much compromise, if any, in the positions between the two parties about LGBT rights. Early on in my nearly 7 years as a senator, we debated on the Judiciary Committee a bill that would have provided protection against discrimination based on sexual orientation, and every Democrat on the Judiciary Committee supported it, every Republican opposed it. And it was a striking reminder that although the Republican Party historically embraced civil rights and was central in the leadership of civil rights in the last century, on issues like LGBT rights, it does pretty sharply divide the parties today. On immigration, I had the opportunity to join 9 other senators and President Trump and Vice President Pence for a lunch at the White House about 2 weeks ago. And we talked about immigration fairly broadly. It seemed clear that President Trump was open-minded about trying to reach some sort of a compromise. There were both Republican and Democratic senators at this lunch, and Senator Alexander of Tennessee and Senator Bennett of Colorado, Republican and Democrat, reminded President Trump that we managed to hammer out a compromise immigration reform bill that got 68 votes, got an overwhelming majority, and passed the Senate, a bill that would have hired more Border Patrol and immigration and customs agents than he's proposing, and would put more money into the border than he's proposing. And he was initially very receptive to it, but ultimately in the course of the lunch, Senator Cornyn, a Republican from Texas, who's number 2 in the Republican caucus, sort of shut down the conversation and said, no, Mr. President, you can't support this. This is something that I didn't support. And Senator Grassley, who's chairman of the Judiciary Committee, reminded him that he opposed it. So every Democrat supported that bill. Unless I'm mistaken, I think every Democrat did. But the Republicans were divided between those who opposed any path towards legal status and those who were willing to make some compromises in the interest of getting significant additional investments in border security and visa control and so forth. So that was the first time I think President Trump had really engaged with a debate with a bipartisan group of senators about the range of issues in immigration. Without some compromise, we're not going to make progress on this issue. We have a badly broken immigration system, and I think what we're seeing so far from the Trump administration is simply a focus on enforcement, on much more aggressive deportation and enforcement. I'll remind you, though, that President Obama deported over 450,000 people from the United States last year and was criticized for that by immigration advocates. So I think we're going to face some tough questions about whether Congress is really going to embrace spending $20 billion on a physical wall with Mexico. There's already 650 miles of wall along the border, and some have questioned the wisdom of spending all that money on a physical wall rather than more effective enforcement. And I think you'll begin to see some real debates about his travel ban and about deportation in the months ahead.